Welcome everybody. Tuesday night here, and the back end of my day night doubleheader. Joe Quills here with you. Uh, this is looking like it's going to be a shorter show tonight, but hey, you never know. We might end up talking, and you guys may be talking about things, and next thing you know, we start talking for like 2 or 3 hours. So, I'm fueled by you. I'm guided by you guys. So feel free to join me. Twitch.tv/Joe Quills, and we will have some fun here tonight. And who knows what we'll get into here. I do have some things planned here. What I have planned to talk about, the Nuggets fired Michael Malone today. Um, Came a bit out of nowhere, but at least for me being on the East Coast, so a little bit of a shocker there. Um, Once you hear why, you'll understand. I'll give my thoughts on the national championship game. Just a recap of me watching the end of the game with Mike. Uh, just some thoughts in there. If you follow me on X at Joe Quills, you saw what I had to say earlier, but I'll reiterate it and give some additional thoughts as well. Tragedy in the Dominican Republic, and hopefully we can find something that is a sorbet to such a tragic event that occurred in the Dominican Republic overnight. Um, like I said, this is the back end of the uh, day night doubleheader from yours truly. Thankfully, I had the day off because otherwise I wouldn't have done the day night doubleheader because of the fact that I started an hour later than I had planned. Part of it was because I didn't realize that Defo, Jeff DeForest, had his show at 10 o'clock. So I stopped and I did not start at 10 o'clock. I waited till 11 o'clock. So, let you guys know last minute. I do apologize for that. But, we did go over the races at Keeneland today, and we did have one winner in four races. It was five races we looked at, but one of the horses I liked was a very late scratch. I mean, post time scratch. I mean, they were in the gate, and I guess the horse acted up or whatever. I don't know what exactly happened because I was watching it, but I wasn't paying complete attention. If that makes sense, because I was doing things around the apartment today, and I was also doing my wash today. So I was in and out of the apartment. I think I put in. Let me see some here, just for shits and giggles here. Almost a mile, and that's basically walking from out my door down the hall to the washroom and back. I think I made like 7 8 trips because it's like, oh, I forgot this, oh, I forgot that. So I forgot a couple of things, and I ran downstairs to um, get my mail, and then I had to reload the card even more because I didn't put enough money on there because I was like, you know what? Nobody's around. Everybody's at work. I'm gonna do three loads of wash. I'm a rebel. Now I had my bed sheets I had to wash as well, but I was like my clothes had to break up into two loads because of the fact that it's been over a week. Um, that's only because you get sidetracked with working the weekends like I was. So, but I do have some announcements that are going to be coming up over the next couple of months, not just today. I don't have anything really new to announce today, but well, I do have an also eligible update. But yeah, so just in a nutshell, I had a fun time um, at 11 a.m. with also eligible. Thankfully, I was able to see the scratches ahead of time, so I can kind of pivot around some of the things that they were doing. Um, little things here and there, and you know, I apologize for yawning because my ass is tired. Um, but um, I'm And I just had a brain cramp because I'm just sitting here and I'm wondering, I'm sitting here wondering, well, why am I not showing up on Twitch? And this is the type of day that it is for me today. Um, I'm sitting here and I'm just, I'm wondering, because I'm pulling things up here because I'm doing everything on one computer tonight because, um, I didn't have time to set things up and all that. Um, so, um, I just sitting here and and things got a little hectic, and I was trying to do a couple of things before the show started. I made dinner and all that, and I was running back and forth down the hallway to the washroom, and you know, half the things I had planned to do in my mental Rolodex I didn't do. I'm not a type of person that writes things down. Now, Mike knows this from being here on Monday nights. He knows that I like to print shit out like I did here. So, that's why I'm always looking down like this all the time, because it's not because I'm tall. It's because I have these articles I look at from time to time. So, um, but I'm also keeping an eye on the baseball game right now. Phillies are in Atlanta, and it's a 5-5 game. Um, Mike says, I'm on Twitch. I'm like John Cena. I see you. But, nah, but, it's just a long day for me. And, um, I did do the doubleheader today. And, there may be days where we have to do a doubleheader. And I ended up doing a couple of things, and also, I talked to AJ. We're doing some stuff. We're talking some shop tonight because we're like, well, you need to do this with the articles. Okay, yeah, I messed up on that. Professionally told me what I have to do. I'm like, okay, no problem. And we're talking about all different things. I'm like, and the weird thing is, I got one of those weird texts, and they're scam texts. I got a text from an area code in Massachusetts, or as I like to call it, massive two shits, because and here's the thing. Um, Most people know that I work till 7:30, and just want to see something here. So when I did everything, I'm like, that's interesting. Get a text. Hi, are you working now? Because some people know I work um, till 7:30. Some know that I work till 7:30 and still text me, and but some people know if it's Bleacher Brothers related, if it's work related, you know, um, just things that require me to respond. I will try to respond to you as soon as I can. But when you got some people who message you on Messenger or whatever they're using, and they don't realize that you're actually working, and you don't want to deal with those little things, the unimportant stuff. That's what annoys me. So, and we are on cycle alert right now because Kyle Schwarber's a double away from the cycle here. But yeah, so I got the alert, Hi, you working right now? I mean, I knew. I mean, first I went to look to see if it was the manager that I report to at Redacted Company. It wasn't her because she has a different area code. So I'm like, okay, well, it's not her. So, and within, this is the weird stuff, and this is, this is almost full moon type stuff. The weird stuff that happens. So after like about 5 minutes later, AJ calls me. I'm like, you know, and I know Bleacher Brothers does have a program director and all that, and um, he is lining up. Uh, he is lining up interviews the for also eligible, some jockeys, trainers, whatever. Um, and there's also people that I want to get as well. I have to, one day I'm going to have to sit down here, maybe on Saturday, because maybe I'll just watch the races from Keeneland again because we are in this minimum 6 days that I'm going to be covering Keeneland. Um, I covered yesterday's race, the Ashland. We did 5 races today. One of the horses was scratched. We did get the winner in the bluegrass. That put me ahead for the day in terms of the my stats, which I have to catch up on. That'll probably be another thing I do on Saturday. And Schwarber hit a ball about 700 feet foul, but um, but so and the one thing is, and I will say this to anybody who's watching this right now, especially if you're going to get into something like this. Now, a lot of people already are, they're doing their influencer things, and I have a different approach to it. The way I'm trying to build myself is through intellectual thought, and then occasionally going with a stupid comment here or there just to get a laugh. Little things here, little things there, just to have some fun with you guys. Um, I mean, it was just weird stuff, and you know, first of all, I'm like, well, where is this 508 area code? So I Googled it. I'm like, okay. But, nothing matched. And I asked about our PD. He's like, well, if he were to call you, I don't think he has your number anyway. He's got a Florida area code anyway. Okay. But, um, but yeah, that was basically my day in a nutshell. Just a long day. Was up late, and I got to the point where I just couldn't type anymore. Um, because first of all, the ADD started kicking in. I'm like looking at my phone. I'm watching this. I'm watching that. I'm watching videos on Facebook. Because I got into this algorithm of these Huskies, and the Huskies, the people who are the actual influencers got a golden retriever a while back, and now they got a second golden retriever. So it's just like cuteness overload. And the one thing with me, if I follow you on Instagram or whatever, if you got a cute dog story, cute dog or cat Insta story, I'm gonna like it because just the goofy stuff that I watch, even though you think I'm a badass wannabe or whatever. Um, so um, yeah, and then I'm sitting here, and I didn't see it flash on my phone this afternoon. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention, but a um, we did have a firing today, which the second firing this week in the NBA, and I do not know why my my Discord app is not displaying what exactly is being posted right now. I gotta play around there and just say screw it. I'm deleting the app for good. I mean, I still have it on my phone, but it's not doing what I want it to do. But um, I didn't even see the alert on my phone. Maybe I got tied up with starting to get ready to do my wash or whatever I was doing, or I don't know what I was doing. But Michael Malone was fired by the Nuggets today, and they will not extend the GM Calvin Booth either. So, so big changes coming up in Denver, and yes, he had just won a championship 2 years ago, but it may be that he may have finally lost the locker room. So, and I mean, it's just like you have a week left in the season, and it seems like a desperation move, but I think, I mean, question I would ask is, do you think they make this move with about a week or two left in the regular season because, or this point in the regular season, because of the fact that they won a championship, they're seeing things slide. I mean, Memphis did the same thing a couple of days ago, but is this the new trend in the NBA where if our team's sliding, we'll just now I can understand somebody getting fired with a couple of games ago. It's like, we're not dealing with you anymore. We're not making the playoffs. Like maybe, and if it happens, so be it. But all right, Nick Nurse, you're gone. Wait, what? But let me just see one thing here. Now I brought up Nick Nurse here. Uh, um, of course, I can't find anything on his Sixers contract. Um, but found an article from 2023 here. They reached a deal. But I don't know how long the deal was for. That's the thing. Um, um, looks like it's 20 the 27-28 season, so 2 or 3 more years. Um, um, just looking here, and I know it's great podcasting right now. Um, because I don't think, I mean, you had a lot of injuries this year, and apparently Joel Embiid also is pissed that they made him wait so long for his knee surgery. Um, mm, yeah, yeah, it doesn't say. Okay, I can't find it, but if somebody finds it, so be it. I don't care. Not that big of a deal. But Um, just getting the right window up here because my mind is all over the place tonight. So um, now, because I was wondering if you're the Sixers, and this is just me speculating, because Kevin Cooney, who's a guy on 97.5 The Fanatic, and he's written for the covered the Phillies in past years as well. He said, "Welcome to Philly, Malone." So, because I was also thinking as well, do you want to do something here where maybe you you pull what you did with Gabe Kapler and um, Joe Girardi, where you made sure Joe Girardi was going to be wanting to come back to be a manager, and the Phillies hired him. I'm wondering maybe do the do the Sixers want to pull something like that or not? That's a something that they could do, but I'm trying to see. I tried to see how many years that contract is, and maybe you know, or maybe you just chalk this up to mismanagement uh, from the front office as well, because it isn't just it isn't just Nick Nurse, it isn't just the players, it's everybody involved this year. So, but um, but Denver did fire Malone today. They said they would not extend general manager Calvin Booth's contract Tuesday, just days before the end of the regular season. David Edelman, he's the son of Rick Edelman. He's going to take over the reins for the rest of the year. Um, Nuggets are 47-32, but they have lost four straight games. They're in danger of falling into a play-in. It's been a frustrating stretch for the Nuggets as three-time MVP and current MVP candidate Nikola Jokic has tried to keep things together while Jamal Murray has been out five straight games with a hamstring injury. So they do have all kinds of problems going on right now. Um, so, and the Braves just took a 6-5 lead on the Phillies. Um, so it says here that there have been moments when players have shown emotions on the sideline, with even normally calm Jokic displaying rare frustration recently while on the bench, trying to sort out the Nuggets' troubles. And the Nuggets have gone 11-13 since the All Star break. Um, so they really have been struggling, and um, when things snowball, things like this happen. Um, um, Now, sources told ESPN when the Nuggets entered the season that there was a growing tension between Malone and Booth that led into a Cold War, so to speak. Nuggets have gone with younger players such as Christian Braun and Peyton Watson around the team's core, Jokic, Murray, and Aaron Gordon. Veterans such as Contavious Caldwell Pope and Bruce Brown left in previous summers during free agency to sign bigger deals elsewhere. And that's the thing with the salary cap, and now with the way that they do the salary cap now. Um, and we mentioned it before. You have all these things that are going on. It's like, it's like, well, yeah, this is why you can't get this particular player. Dallas had all kinds of problems where they couldn't even sign anybody to a 10-day contract. So they had all kinds of problems earlier up until a few weeks ago. But you know, you're looking for ways to get around the fact that you have a salary cap and you got players that are making max deals and everything. There's only so much you can do. Um, and sometimes those deals don't, you know, deals for younger players sometimes don't work out. But um, but Malone had been with the team for 10 years, 10 seasons, I should say. He led the Nuggets to their lone championship, and he had a 471 and 327 record. So, but you figured, you win a championship, you would get a little bit of a pass, but apparently not. Um, Josh Kroenke, vice chairman of Kroenke Sports and Entertainment, said the decision to fire Malone wasn't made as a reaction to any one thing. Um, there were certain trends that were very worrisome to me at difficult points in time, but they would get masked by a few wins here and there. In a world of professional sports, when winning and losing is your currency, winning can mask a lot of things. And, I mean, look at the Braves. They have all kinds of injuries. They're 1-8, or whatever they are, 1-7, 1-8, whatever it is. Yeah, 1-8 because they had a 4-game series in San Diego and they only played 2 games against Marlins. But sometimes you just, um, sometimes you're everything you do just doesn't work out. Patience runs thin, and and even you even forget that he won a championship 2 years prior. But sometimes that happens. Uh, Kroenke called the timing unfortunate, but hopes the change may spark something in the team heading into the playoffs. And it could be something worth looking into later on. But I think there's more to the team that they've been than has been accomplished so far. How much more is in that group? I don't think I know the answer to that. I don't think um, anyone knows the answer to that. But I think I believe that there's more in that group that can be accomplished. I look forward to seeing what they can do. So, um, but yeah, it's a troubling thing. It's troubling when you're one of the you're one of the top teams in the West and you're sliding down the standings. Yeah, it's a. And Mike says you would think they would have waited until the end of the year. Agreed, because I don't know how much was left on his contract either. But you know, desperation. You could see the desperation on the team right now, and they're going for broke. They had to do what they had to do, but um, now Calvin Booth, he was promoted to GM for the past 3 seasons after Tim Connolly left for the Timberwolves. Booth's first season was Denver's championship season, the 22-23 season. Adelman, as I said, is the son of former head coach Rick Adelman, who has been and the younger Adelman has been assistant by Malone's side for 8 seasons. He interviewed for head coaching vacancies with the Lakers and the Cavaliers last summer. So he has had that interview process as well. So whether he returns next year or not will be remain to be seen. But um, yeah, so he ends up getting fired. Um, so a little bit of a lot of turmoil in Denver right now, and maybe they just need to smoke a bowl or two or whatever. But whatever. But um, but oops, that page I want later. Okay, so you know, the only time I really remember um, a coach or manager getting fired like this late in the year was 2008 when the Phillies swept the Milwaukee Brewers. and the Phillies swept the Sunday doubleheader, and the Brewers fired their manager with like 15, 20 games to go. It's like, why are you doing it now? But I mean, he still got the wild card berth and whatever. But they ended up facing the Phillies in the first round of the playoffs. Phillies won that, or the division round, I should say. Well, technically, was uh, yeah, I think it was the. Yeah, because there was only one wild card then, I think. But anyways, Phillies. We all know what happened in 2008. So, but um, but they're celebrating in Gainesville. Is they won the national championship last night. Um, Houston, it could be worse. You could have been ahead 28-3. No, seriously. But um, Mike and I were watching the game, and we weren't paying complete attention to the game. I think Mike was paying more attention than I was because I'm the one that runs the show here. But you just when you saw everything going down, and Houston had a double-digit lead in the second half, and when I'm looking at the scoreboard, when I'm looking at the TV, I'm like, Houston might turn this into a rout. And the one thing I said a couple times last night, I think, um, if there is one thing you want, is a nice close game on for a championship game, especially when you have two number one seeds going at it. Now, comparing apples and oranges, I know, but the women's game on Sunday was a blowout, and it's like, can South Carolina do anything? And you just got to the point. I got to the point where it's like, oh, screw this. I just changed to another channel. Um, but I mean, it was a damn good game. It was just that, and I said this last night on X, and I said it on Facebook. I said at the end of this, I said, hope this makes sense because you got too many people out there that will come after you for the dumbest of reasons. And, um, it's stuff that happens from time to time. And, but, I said on there, let me get it so I can quote myself exactly here. Um, let me go here. Um, okay, I said here, as someone who is neutral here, because the last thing I want to do is make it look like I'm pissed that Houston lost. My brackets were destroyed a long time ago. They were destroyed in the first round, even though I still had all four Final Four teams until the regional finals. So I still, the upsets just weren't happening this year. So I said, as someone who is neutral here, the end of the game was disappointing. Great defense by Florida, but Houston never got the shot off. At least I hope what I just said made sense. And you didn't get the suspense of a shot going towards the basket. Will it go in? Will it not go in? How much time will be left? All that stuff. Kind of like the Villanova shot when they won the national championship. But by the way, Chris Jenkinson's suing the NCAA because of antitrust and all that bullshit. But we won't get into that. But um, but the one thing is, you had two teams that played great defense, and Houston collapsed the same way that they came back against Duke in a miracle finish. Um, and you know what? These things happen, and for some of those guys, it's the worst thing that can it's the worst time to happen because it may have been their last college game. But the fact that you have a team here that did all they could do, you know, it's just unfortunate that, um, and the worst thing you can do is leave your feet, whether it's to take a shot or make a pass, whatever. The worst thing that can happen is you take a shot and you reach the apex and you're like, oh shit, I can't shoot, I can't pass, I can't do this, I can't do that. I got nowhere to go with the ball. So he let go of the ball just wanders around, he can't do anything with it. Game over, Florida wins. So, um, but yeah, I'm not complaining about the ending or anything like that. Nor do I want to complain about it because it was a great tournament, even though it was a chalk fest this year. Um, and maybe the committee got the rankings right this year because there weren't many upsets. Um, but you got to realize that maybe I mean, was Florida the better team? Yeah. Um, but Houston, you know, they couldn't get a shot off in time because they wanted to go. It looked like at first they were going to try to try to get a layup, but they got shut off. They had to go back outside, and I don't know if the guy was actually looking to shoot a three. I don't know if he's a 3-point shooter, but based off of what I saw, it's like, I got myself in a bad position here, and everything happened the way it did. So, um, but I'll tell you what, um, you know, it's unfortunate, but but it was a great game. You gotta give both teams credit for going back and forth like they did. You know, it's just that if you were a Houston fan or you were rooting for Houston, you didn't get that shot off. You didn't get the suspense of the ball going through the air. And if you're the one that takes a shot, it's almost like your time goes by very, very slow, and you're just watching go. Where and even the other team, even Florida, they'd be staring at like because you know getting to win a championship, getting to go down as his in history to win a championship, you know, all that is what you want to. This is one of the things that you dream of, especially once you get into college, and the way a lot of these kids now go into the transfer portal 2, 3, 4 times. If they're not good enough to go directly to the pros after a year, it's like, I don't like this coach, but um, but they do have. Um, they do have a lot of that. So, but congrats to Florida. They played a great. They played great all year, and they deserve the win. So good for them. And we'll see uh, what's going on over the next couple of years. Comes up over the next year as we start the cycle all over again in terms of college sports towards the end of summer here. Actually, here's one thing that I saw here, and I saw it on Instagram. I shared it onto I shared it onto my Insta stories yesterday, and I don't know the account that shared this, but they linked to an article that was from Block Club Chicago, BLOCK, Block Club Chicago, and apparently, and I'm going to share my screen in a second. And this isn't. I mean, it's a weird story, but it's not. And going back to what the championship game, it was a great game. Give Florida credit for coming back from double-digit deficit. Yeah, um, you know, but it wasn't 28-3. But um, but this probably could fall under the stupid shit that I saw segment that I have from time to time. But I mean, maybe, maybe not. But I'm not going to classify it as that. But I saw this yesterday, and I didn't add it to the list because me and Mike start talking. Things happen. But at Wrigley Field, a goose makes a nest, forcing the closure of a section of seats. And this happened over the weekend, but um, so this is in the. I'm trying to picture where this is there, but I think it's like in the upper areas here, like in this area here. But there's a new bleacher bum um, at Wrigley Field. A Canada goose took up residence in a planter box in deep center field, forcing the Cubs to block off a section of bleacher seats over the weekend to keep the peace. So, just trying to figure out, maybe it's over in this area here? Because I'm looking at this, and this is um, Waveland, I believe. Because you got Sheffield and you got Waveland. I think this is Waveland. And you got the bleacher seats across the street. So it looks like so. So Goose made a nest under the famed center field scoreboard's right side. Okay, so it's maybe in this area, somewhere in this area, I guess. So they probably more up here because it looks like that they cordon off that area there, so nobody would interfere with the uh, with the goose. But dozens of bleacher seats were cordoned off with stanchion signs and ballpark operations staff assigned to keep guard. One person said they were calling us geese keepers. Nice play on word there. Um, Apparently, the goose was in the nest for Friday's home opener before the issue was identified. Her presence caused a stir, leading to creation of the Geesekeeper Patrol and Special Section for Saturday's game. Fans took photos and had a laugh at the latest bleacher legend. The drunker the got, the funnier they are, said one observer. So, oh, I see here. So it's like towards the top here, underneath the scoreboard. Um, so, like up in here is probably where it's at, or maybe the second level. But yeah, that's why we're seeing the Wrigley Field, the houses across the street is because of this area here. So that's what it is. So it's in that area. So that's what's causing uh, this whole area to be cordoned off. So, um, and there's the picture of the goose. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, so it's up close to the um, close to the top of that to the bleacher seats there in center field. So yeah, um, so that's what they did there. So it's not clear if the goose is protecting a nest of eggs. No one wanted to get close, and rightfully so. No one wanted to get close enough to investigate. This is nesting season for Canadian geese, with females nesting on the eggs and males keeping guard nearby. Eggs typically hatch within a month. Friday was the first game of the season, so it's not clear how long the goose has been there. And that's the thing, he could have been there a couple of weeks already. He may not. I mean, you just let nature run its course here. Cubs won both Friday and Saturday, making the Goose 2-0, and perhaps an essential mascot, but they lost the series finale to the Padres, slowing the Rally Goose's momentum. Um, yeah, it was featured on the Today Show on Monday. Um, um, uh, Cubs senior director of communications Jennifer Martinez said in a statement to the Associated Press, "At the friendly confines, we truly mean it when we say everyone's welcome, including the goose and her nest who took up residence in the bleachers. Uh, we're giving her the space she needs while we've been working closely with the wildlife organization to manage the situation safely and responsibly, in full accordance with state law. In the meantime, we have blocked off the area to fans, protecting our fans and our feathered guests is our top priority." Um, so it appears that the goose is pretty content looking out over the ballpark as gulls swarm the bleachers below, looking for edible um, bleacher debris. They're saying that they're calling her Suzuki, a nod to Seiya Suzuki, the outfielder for the Cubs. And there you see the sign that that area is temporarily closed. And there she is near the top of the stand. Um, so a little something, and probably I should use this last, even though it's not that. I mean, it's a weird story, but it's not stupid shit like we had last night. But um, but yeah, it probably should have used this as a sorbet with the story that I'm about to mention in a minute or two. So let me go here. I can remove that. So um, and maybe I'll add something on here to the end here. Um, so um, so apparently last night there was a roof collapsed at a nightclub in the Dominican Republic. Former MLB players Octavio Dotel and Tony Blanco were among more than 70 people who died after the roof collapsed early this morning. At least 79 people were killed, and you know, um, I don't know if it's I don't know if, what caused this or anything like that, but this is still in the early stages of what happened. But um, also killed was Nelsie Cruz, the governor of the northwestern province of Monte Cristi, and sister of seven-time MLB All-Star Nelson Cruz. 160 people were injured. Um, it occurred around 1 a.m. during a merengue concert, which drew athletes, politicians, and others to the Jet Set nightclub in Santo Domingo. It wasn't immediately clear what caused the roof to collapse, um, but yeah, you wonder what happened there. But yeah, it's an unfortunate thing that occurred. Um, Rob Manfred said in a statement, Major League Baseball is deeply saddened by the passing of Octavio Dotel, Tony Blanco, Nelsie Cruz, and all the victims last night in San Domingo. We send our heartfelt condolences to the families and friends of those who have been affected, and to our colleague Nelson and his entire family. So, um, yeah, I mean, very tragic what happened, and Mike says this is the first time he's hearing about it. Um, yeah, I saw it. I saw it this afternoon. If that news flash I did catch, so I did see that one. I didn't see the Michael Malone one, but um, the connection between baseball and the Dominican Republic runs deep, and we are thinking of all the Dominican players and fans across the game today. Tony Clark, um, Said the union stands united with the Dominican community. We grieve for all the victims and send a special message of support to the families of Octavio Dotel and Tony Blanco, who leave an unspeakable void with their passing, and for Nelson Cruz, whose family lost a shining light with the death of his sister, Nelsie. And I mean, Dotel, he pitched for 13 different teams. So, I mean, it seems like he pitched for every team except for the Phillies. But, he had 36 saves with the Astros and Athletics in 2004. Um, you know, he was pulled from the rubble about 6 hours after the collapse and was transported to a hospital, but his condition worsened and he died. Um, he started with the Mets, won a World Series with the Cardinals in 2011. He recorded 109 saves, a logged a 3.78 ERA in his 15 years in the majors with 13 different teams. Um, Blanco was in the minors from 2000 to 2008. He reached the majors for 56 games in 2005 with the Nationals, hitting 215 with a home run, 7 RBIs. He then played in Japan, Dominican Republic. Um, and Tony Blanco Jr., he is in the Pirates farm system right now. Um, um, but President Abinadir, who was at the scene, wrote on X that all rescue agencies were working tirelessly to help those affected. So, I mean, this is probably, I mean, this isn't something, these buildings don't go crashing down randomly, but, um, yeah, it's a very tragic thing. And, prayers to the families. Um, yeah, and, you could probably go to all 13 teams that Octavio Dotel played for. Say we're heartbroken about the learning of the passing of Octavio Dotel and whatever. But um, um, so um, so and the Phillies lose to the Braves 7-5 tonight. Um, just looking to see if there's anything else worth mentioning here, because like I said, I don't think this is going to be a long episode tonight. Um, Let me just see here. Any other thing worth mentioning here? Um, the Cleveland Cavaliers locked up the top seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs. Um, they beat the Bulls tonight. Um, they're now fighting for home court advantage. Oklahoma is 64-14. Cleveland is 63-16. If you're the Sixers right now, with how bad they have been this year, whether you want to say it's because of injuries or whatever, mismanagement, um, Sixers right now have one, two. Sixers had the fifth worst record in the league, and if that draft pick falls below six, so let's say the Sixers get drawn as the seventh team in the draft, that pick goes to Oklahoma City. It's top six protected. And basically you're just kicking the can down the road, and just something that happens from time to time. And you know, when that draft comes around next month, I'm sure everybody will be watching to see. Well, is it number? Are we going to be seven or less, or are we going to be seven or later, or six or earlier? Because if it ends up being seventh, eighth, ninth, it's going to get conveyed to Oklahoma City, who already has a monster team on their hands. So, um, but yeah, so you do have that going on right now. Um, and I can imagine as well sitting there, um, an NBA official, knowing that the Sixers have tanked for numerous years at the beginning of the process, and we're beyond the process, but um, the fact that the Sixers have lost 12 in a row, they shut down all three of their star players. Thankfully, there's only 3 games left, but it just seems like that they they're trying to get as much padding in there as possible. And the one thing I said was, if you really want to, well, first of all, you're not going to see the promotion relegation, especially in basketball. There's just not enough leagues. But the one thing you got to do is you have to totally revamp the lottery system, and you got to stop it on the merit of the worst record in the league, because we've seen over the last 5, 10 years, and even a little bit longer, because hockey has a lottery system now. Major League Baseball has a lottery system now, but the lottery system for baseball, in my opinion, isn't needed, because guess what? A lot of these guys don't make it to majors, and if they do, it's probably going to be a couple of years on average. So, um, but the lottery doesn't help you until you're 2 or 3 years down the road. But the NBA, the NHL, if you have a top three pick, that guy is going to help you right away. But different sports, different ways that the leagues are structured and everything like that. So, but we'll see. But just some interesting things that occurred as well. So, um, now I did share something on Instagram today. Not really worth mentioning. I don't know if this is a joke or not, but some kid said he was declaring for the NBA draft from a Division 3 school. I don't know how true it is, but I'll let him have his joke. Um, um, but I'm just looking to see if there's anything worth mentioning here. Nothing really. But okay, so yeah, so this is going to be a quickie episode tonight, and we will do this again tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Just a single, because I did do also eligible this morning. We did have we pushed it back an hour because I didn't realize that Defo Jeff DeForest had a show at 10, so I went back to 11, because I know I could have gone on YouTube and streamed and had two streams going at once, but in terms of like X, I could have used Twitch, the Bleacher Brothers Twitch. It was just, you know what? Let's take the hour and let me get everything set up the way I wanted it set up, which I did. So, but it is what it is. So, So you know what? We're going to call it a night here, and I do appreciate everybody watching on X, on YouTube, and on Twitch. Thank you, Mike, for joining me, and we'll do it live again in 23 hours at 9 p.m. Eastern. Join me, twitch.tv/Joe Quills, and check out Bleacher Brothers for your sports needs, and we'll do it live again tomorrow. So, hope everybody has a great night, and I will see you in the winner's circle. Good night, everybody.